So I want to get into. I know we're going to talk about how women can stay motivated, after 50. But I want to start off by just getting your story. How did you were a teacher initially, that was your profession. So how did you make this transition to fitness?
Yeah, right. So I was a teacher. I was a teacher for 25 years and loving it. I teaching was my passion. Kids are my passion. I feel like I'm a kid whisperer. I just really enjoyed my teaching career, but I woke up one day unexpectedly. It was a May morning, and literally my eyes just opened wide in the morning. And I just said to myself, I'm not going back. It was it was interesting. I had already signed my contract but I marched into work that day and I talked to my boss. I cried. I had none of this planned. It was so crazy. And I told her, I'm not coming back next year. So I think I got, I don't know, things change, kids are different today. The teaching, while I loved it, it became really challenging, with just behavioral issues, amongst the children. With technology, in there, I just felt like it was harder to keep kids motivated, and just yeah, it was a tricky time. So I decided I wanted to shift and do something different. And I wasn't quite sure that I wanted, to go into personal training. I had a couple years prior to that, I had a coach who I used to do his boot camps. And I was doing triathlons at the time, and he was my coach. And he was reopening a one of his boot camp venues in the city, and he asked if I would take over that boot camp.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, oh yeah, I could do that. I love working out. Like I said, I had done his boot camp for many years, and I was like, I could teach a boot camp. Okay, I'll do it. And then I thought, wait a minute. Yes, I know how to do the exercises. I do squats, lunges, push-ups, that sort of thing. But I didn't know the whys. I didn't know why, other than that it's good for you, right? It's exercise, it's going to get me in shape. But what muscle groups, do squats affect? And what are, if I'm trying to build my arms, what exercises are good for that, right? So I
Yeah.
just didn't know all the science behind the exercises, and I thought, well, I need to go, to school and learn. So I signed up at the College of Marin and, took a course and got my certification. And so then I was like, okay, now I'm in business. I have a little bit more, to back up, why I'm telling people to do, 25 squats and, some lunges. So that kind of happened. And then the boot camp, the section that he was trying to reopen, he didn't get the numbers that he wanted. And so it was very short lived. I think it was like maybe 4 or 6 months, something like that. And then when I told the few participants that were there, that, this was going to be ending soon, they were like, no. And so I had a couple of ladies ask me if I would train them, privately. And I thought, yeah, we can continue to keep doing this. I'll show up at the location, and, we can keep going. But, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I was good at it, and people enjoyed working with me. And so, when the time came and I, had quit my job, my husband said to me, why don't you go into personal training? We have this amazing gym. We had added on a whole floor to our house, and, for ourselves, had a have a private gym here to work out in. And so it was just perfect. It all just fell into place. And I, brought those two ladies over as my first clients, and then it just grew from there. So,
Wow. That's
yeah,
amazing. And it's funny that like the day that you woke up, you weren't even sure what you wanted to do.
right.
but you just
I
knew it
know,
was
and that's
time to
scary.
go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's scary because, I talk to people always ask me about that. And um, it's like you can't really look for a job when you have one. You know what I mean? But it's hard to let go. I'm middle age, right? And I had been teaching for all those years. I was good at what I was doing. I enjoyed it, but something, inside was just like, I'm done. I need to try something new.
Yeah.
And so I think things present themselves better when you're not bogged down in something else, right? And so that was kind of a nice transition. And lucky for me, I have that skill set, and motivation and passion for fitness that, it just took off.
Yeah. And
So
I
that was
love
that was
that.
kind of nice.
Yeah, I love that because you mentioned it occurred when you were middle aged, and I think so many of us, like you said, there's fear,
Yeah,
um, or we think we can't make any change. It's
absolutely.
over, you know.
Yep. Who's gonna what am I gonna do? I'm, half my life, right? I've done this.
Yeah, yeah,
But I mean, as you know, time goes really fast. And if you just hone in on something, put your mind to it, and get started, I mean, you will be a lot further along, than you realize in a very short time, right?
yeah,
And all the while we sit back and we're like, oh, I should be doing this and I should be doing that. And time is just flying by. And you're like, hell, 3 years have gone by and I've done nothing. I could have, gotten a degree and I could have done,
yeah,
so many things, right?
yeah.
So,
I
yeah,
heard someone put it in a way where they said the time is going to pass anyway,
anyway, I
you
like
know.
that. Yeah, this is true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
a couple weeks ago, I had to speak at an event. They asked me to come talk about wellness, which
Nice.
was which even though I do this podcast, speaking to a room of 250 people about wellness was very different.
Yeah,
Um, but afterwards, I got questions, and one of the questions was, how do you stay motivated?
yeah,
And I'd love to hear your take on how women over 50 should stay motivated. I kind of told the lady, I don't think she was over 50, but I told her for me, motivation comes and goes.
yes, yeah,
So it's more about forming habits. But I want to know
that's
your
right.
take, especially for women like in our age, you know,
Right.
how do you encourage us to stay motivated?
Yeah, good question. I mean, you know, a lot of it is mindset. It's how we think about ourselves. And so first thing is, I think you need to get clear on what you want, right? So when my clients come to me, I first talk to them about why are they here, what are they expecting to get out of this, this partnership, this relationship. Where do they see themselves, in 2 years or 5 years? I also ask them, I dive into, like, what did you do when you were young? What did you do when you were, in middle school? What did you do in high school? What sports did you do? What activities were you involved in? And then college, what happened then? Were you still doing those activities or did you move on to something else? And so that gives me a good idea of, what they were used to. I hear a lot of, like, oh, I used to do that, you know. Well, why aren't you still doing that is my question, right? And I think as women, we have this narrative that once we have kids, our life is over. You can't do anything. I hear, well, I've got kids, so I can't work out. And then after kids, well, I'm too old, or I'm just tired, or, I don't know what it is, that holds, there's a lot of reasons, a lot of things that hold people back, but mainly it's just their mind, their mindset is not in the right place. So when people tell me, oh, I used to, I used to be a runner and I loved it. And I ask them, well, why did you stop? Well, I had kids, or, I don't know. I just stopped running after a while, or my knees started hurting, or there's several reasons, right? So then we can unpack that and figure out how to get them back there. You can
Yeah.
still do that. Maybe your knees are shot, and running is a little hard on the body. So it depends. Are you running on the road? I always say go to trail, right? It's a lot softer on the knees. You can water run. There's these great weight belts you put on get in the water and you water run. I mean, it just, there's so many ways to think about, you know, how you can get back to doing things that you enjoy. And so I try to motivate people with, first finding out what their, first love was, and just interest. A lot of people didn't try things that they always wanted to. And then, of course, midlife rolls around and you haven't done it and you think, oh, I'm not going to do that. And so I try to get them to do that. That's what
Yeah.
I get excited about. And I think my excitement, just like with kids, when you're excited about something, they're excited about something.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of the battle is you need a partner in, helping you do what you want to do, or getting excited with you about what you want to do. And
Yeah.
so that's also a thing too. I try to ask people, do you have a partner? Do you have a girlfriend? Your one of maybe your child, one of your kids can help motivate you. We need a cheerleader in our corner, you know. So that's really important too, is having somebody that's cheering you on. And I feel like I've had that. My parents, my dad was my biggest cheerleader, and just people in my life, they were always excited to see me doing what I enjoy doing. So that was helpful.
Yeah. And that's with me, I love the gym. But like my
Hmm.
gym family, they're like we cheer each other on.
Yes, it's a community,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. So it's just sometimes it's about just like you said, finding someone or finding that
Hmm.
community.
That
Um,
community, yeah.
yeah. Whether
Because
it's
there's a lot of people that don't have, like, I mean, I train a lot of women who they don't have, their partner doesn't work out, or their kids don't want to do anything with them, right? So they are alone in that, or maybe they're a little bit more active than their friends are, and they can't
Mhm.
get anybody to go on that hike with them. And so that's hard. So you need to then look a little bit further. So I also, once I hear about all the things they're interested in doing or they used to do, I try to find events and things to motivate them with. And I'm like, I'm going to sign up for this 5K, come do this with me. Or I'm going to go. I mean, I'll even take clients, out on a hike, or, I mean, that's part of the adventure part of my business, right? Sports adventure is my business. And I'm all about little, little tiny adventures. So I might surprise a client. Like I remember this one lady I had. She was coming to work out one morning. I said, "Hey, I texted her that morning. I said, you know what? Meet me at the bottom of the hill. Park your car, and you'll jump into my car. I'm going to take you somewhere for our workout." So I took her to Muir Woods, which is this gorgeous place in where I live, with tons of big redwoods. It's a national park, but it's closed. It doesn't open until 10 a.m. We were working out at 6 a.m. So I took her in the secret, trail passageway in there. And she was just she had never been. And she'd lived in San Francisco for 10 years and she had never been to this place. So I like to, you know, surprise people with adventures, little mini adventures to deepen the motivation. And, she was just like, wow, this is so beautiful. I can't believe I've never been here, you know. And we just went for a run, a regular little workout, but it was kind of magical. And then it kind of sparked that interest in her to continue, because she wasn't like a runner per se. She was learning all these different ways to move her body and to work out. And, that was also part of it. Like I wanted to show her how fun, trail running could be, because when we first tried it, I was like, oh, she's pretty good at this. She could do this. So yeah.
Okay, that's cool. And I I hope I'm not jumping ahead of
No,
myself.
no.
Um, because you mentioned a big part of your business is the adventure, and you you are quite the daredevil, Sean. So I
Yeah.
want you to share.
Oh
I've
no.
seen you jump out of planes and all kind of stuff, pictures. Like I want you to share with the listeners some of the stuff that you've done. When you say adventure, go our chick, she means adventure.
Well, yeah, I've always been very adventurous from the time I was very little. I remember, and Crystal, you're gonna love this. Do you remember the those lamps, those odd shaped hanging lamps that hung from like chains? I don't know.
Yeah,
My mom had one in her living room,
yeah,
and it looked like a pickle or something. I don't know. It was green and it had this long chain. And I was looking at that lamp for days. I mean, I must have been 4. And this was in the living room, by the way, which we were not allowed in because, all the white carpet and the
yeah.
nice furniture. The kids were not allowed in that room. But I wanted to swing from that that lamp. I was like, man, that just, that looks fun. I think one day, I don't know, it was swinging, somebody had hit it, I don't know. But I got the idea I was going to swing like Tarzan. And so I jumped onto that lamp and I started swinging and it fell and I broke the marble table underneath it. I fell on that table and broke it. Oh my God, I was in trouble. So anyway, that was like, I think the beginning of my adventurous side. I mean, I love to move my body. I love to leap off of things. My mom said I was running and jumping from the time I could walk, right? And so I had gotten a skydive. My husband had bought me a skydive as a gift to go skydiving. I didn't even really know what skydiving was. It's like I'll try anything once, right? Like I said, I love the
Oh,
adventure.
God.
He said, do you want to go?" I was like, "Yeah." And so we went, and I thought he was going to go too. And when I got there, my husband was like, "Well, actually, this is a gift for you. I'm not gonna do the tandem jump. I'm just gonna sign up for classes because he wanted to learn to skydive." I was like terrified. I'm like, "What? You're not doing it?" But anyway, I went through with it, and from the moment I was tossed out of that plane, I loved it. I came down and I was like, oh my God, that was so fun. I got to do this again. So I signed up, took lessons, and, got my skydiving cert. And, I can go anywhere, to any local or destination drop zone and jump out of the plane.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then I found myself on a bridge one day. I went on a road trip with some friends and my husband, of course, and they were going to go base jumping. So base
Oh,
jumping is, where you have a rig on, but it only has one parachute in it as opposed to two, and you jump off of, a stationary object, i.e., a bridge or a cliff, or something like that. And I was like, I'm not doing that. That's not for me. I'll go watch and support, but I'm not doing that. And then literally after I watched my husband and all these people huck themselves off of this bridge, it's like 500-foot bridge. The next day, I find myself walking down the plank, walking down going over to the section where you jump off. And I'm just like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm about to do this. But it looks so fun, and it's a little bit different than skydiving. The feeling that you get when you leave from the platform is a lot different. It's very quiet and peaceful before
mm.
you catch the air. And yeah, it was amazing. So I hucked myself off of that bridge and I was like, this is so fun. So continue to do that. And, there's lots of great places around the world where you can do that legally, because in the United States, there's only one place that it is legal to do, um, in Utah. But other than that, you can't really do that legally. So
Wow.
I've scaled power towers in the middle of the night, and we huck ourselves off of those, while everybody's sleeping. I don't know. And then in Europe, it's legal to. So there's lots of great places where I've been to jump off of bigger walls, like 3,000-foot walls, and
Oh my
fun
gosh.
fun
Uh,
stuff. But I don't take my clients to do that kind of stuff, right? Some people know that I do that, and they're like, okay, let's just get this straight. I'm here, to train under your guidance and everything, but I'm not jumping off of anything. And I'm like,
yeah.
don't worry, I don't have the training to do that with you. So you're on your own there, but I can help you with other stuff.
But do you find that your adventures that attracts women to you? Like, as I would, if I mean, I think that would be pretty cool to have for a personal trainer.
Wow, thank you. I think so. I don't know. Like I said, all my business is done by word of mouth, and I don't know what people tell other people when they refer me, but I know that, yes, that's exciting, to people to hear that I do that. They're like, man, you're such a badass. But I think it's just my excitement and my energy is what people like. I've heard people say, Shawn wants more for me than I want for myself, and it motivates them to get there, right? Um, I have always been a super optimistic person, and my dad told me from the time I was little, you can do anything you put your mind to if you just work hard. Give your 110% and you're there, right? So that's always been my motto about everything. You can be and do anything you want. You just have to put in the effort. And so that's what I believe in, and that's what I kind of hope. I definitely hope for all the people that I work with.
Yeah,
And
and what your dad said is really important. Um, but I think we hear that as kids, but then when we become adults, we don't
yeah,
believe it
nope,
anymore.
yeah,
And but it is true.
it
You
is.
know?
It is very true. It is very true. I think, yeah, that so many things get in the way in our brains. So many things get in the way. Um, it is true, and yeah, I'm often wondering, why so many women in middle age become fearful. They just become fearful. And that leads me to the next thing of, as far as training goes, I think that I know this to be true, and I've seen it happen and transpire in my clients. When you're training and building strength, I think that's uber important for us middle-aged women, anybody over 30 really, but especially in middle age, it helps in so many ways. I mean, we need to strengthen our bones, to keep from getting osteoporosis, osteopenia, all that stuff. But I've seen women when they start to lift weights, and get strong, their whole persona changes.
Yes.
Right. You feel just so capable, and like you can do anything, or at least do
Yes.
more, right? It transpires through your professional life, your life as a parent, if you're a parent. um it's an amazing transformation, that you go through when you lift weights and you get strong, because we're always, society makes us out to be these weak little things, right? And so I've seen women, they've gotten stronger, and they walk taller,
Hmm.
they put themselves out there, they take more risks, you know, um, in the relationships, right? Sometimes you have these, you might be a woman that doesn't speak up as much in your relationship with a man. They're the ones that call the shots. Now, in my family, I wear the pants. I love my husband is amazing. I mean, I could not ask for a better partner. He's just awesome. But I've always been that way though. I think because of my dad. My dad just, made me this strong, tough woman, that I am today, and always count your change, literally and figuratively, right? Don't let anybody take advantage of you. So I've always kind of been that way. But some people have to learn that. Some people
Yeah.
have to, practice and talk to themselves, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so it is something that takes courage. And I think when lift heavy shit, you get you get strong in so many ways, and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful thing.
And it's still, I think some women fall to the criticism. They think, I don't want to look like a man. And it's like,
Well, that's a myth. I mean,
yeah.
yeah, people still today in 2024, I don't know, they need to read the science. I'm all about science, and I mean, there's so much stuff on the internet that's not true. There's so many things that people say and tell us that, check your facts. I'm always telling my granddaughter, don't just believe that because your friend told you that. Look that up, you know, check the facts. You
Yeah.
don't, yeah, be a skeptic. Don't just believe everything you read and hear, right? Um, yeah, I mean, I do see that some women can build muscle a little bit faster than others, but also it depends on what you're eating and how you're eating. You can't look like a bodybuilder unless you're eating a ton of protein and you're working out a lot. You know what I mean? And for the average person that can barely, work out or do any kind of movement 2 days a week, you're not gonna, you probably, it's gonna be hard for you to even get that definition, right?
Yeah.
So don't be scared,
Yeah.
ladies out there. Yeah,
And
it's
then it's the fear. Like when I was going through my, I don't know if I should say transformation, I remember men, people that I dated formerly would see me out and about and would criticize. Oh,
yes.
I liked the old Crystal, you
Oh,
know?
really? Really? Wow.
Yeah. And so
Wow.
it's funny because I was talking to someone years later, a female that was kind of going through the same thing, and she was torn about whether or not she should continue. And I was like, no, like, what are you saying?
Yeah.
Don't let that, there are a whole
Yes.
another group of men that love women that are fit.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, leave those dudes alone. Like,
Right.
there
You
are
don't need
people
them.
that, right. Don't let that deter you. But like that
Yeah.
kind of gets in our heads.
It does. It
And
does.
yeah, yeah,
Just there's certain things that, men say to women and it gets them either, doing that thing or not doing, you know what I mean? Like we need
yeah,
to listen to ourselves and, do what we think is best.
yeah,
But, you'd be surprised. I mean, there's all kinds of men out there, right? That like women that are just natural and, fit looking,
yeah,
whatever, But yeah,
yeah.
sadly, we listen to people that tell us, otherwise, right?
Oh, I struggle often, in giving advice
Right.
because,
Yeah.
what got me there may be different from what that person
Yes.
may need?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's why I like to ask that's why I like to ask the questions, what did you used to do? Were you somebody that exercised or not? Some people just don't. I mean, a lot of people just don't love it. You know what I mean? Like I have clients that come here and they tell me like I snoozed my alarm, 5 times. I almost called you and said I'm not coming. I used to have this lady in my boot camp that I literally had to text her before boot camp and say, I'll see you at 7. She said, I was just about to go back, roll over and go back to sleep. She was not going to come. And had I
Yeah,
not text her, so it's hard. I say, what do everybody wants to be healthy, right? I mean, do you want to live, do you want to live long? Do you, you know, what do you want, right? Like how, and then just, it's kind of like just, you have to walk, sometimes you have to walk people through that process. And they have to start small, right?
Yeah.
Maybe if they don't ever go to the gym, you know, I do mention walking, walking is that can be your start, right? Just walking, breathing in the fresh air. I always start small. I tell people 10 minutes, 15 minutes a day, just do something. But I think like at first, you have to do something for yourself, right? You have to
Hmm.
think about, I think a lot of us women, we're always thinking about everything else in our life, other people, our kids, whatever. I mean, I feel like women put everything before themselves. And
We
so
do.
that just, yeah. And that's, one of the reasons why we don't take care of ourselves. There's a lot of women
Yeah.
out there who, they don't get to themselves because there's not enough hours in the day after they do everything else, right? But I think, you, you, it needs to be a priority, right? We do things that we prioritize. People say, "Oh, I don't have enough time." Well, that's not entirely true. There's time. You just have to put it on your schedule, right? If it's not scheduled, then it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I have a new client who I love. She's so fun, and she just started like a month ago, and she says she just forgoes her workout all the time. She just can't get herself to do it. She's like, I have the time, I could have done it, but I just won't do it. But she wants to, right? She's just stuck. Like she wants to. So it's like building habits, building routines. It takes some time. So that's why I say start small. Okay, so you don't work out ever, then I want you one day a week, you know, to go for a walk or pick that thing that you want to do. I mean, I take people paddle boarding. It doesn't have to be in the gym doing squats and lunges and sit-ups and stuff like that. Go on a hike on a trail, you know, go row a boat.
Yeah.
You can there's so many different things that you can do, that are active and just to get your body moving. So it's about movement first. I mean, if you think about it, vacuuming is exercise, right?
Yeah.
You ever feel like all of a sudden when you're vacuuming, oh, it's hot in here. I
Yeah.
mean, you're moving, you're moving that muscle, your arm back and forth, and you're kind of creating friction there and getting putting some energy and muscle into it. That's exercise.
Yeah.
But we want to evolve a little bit away from the house cleaning and stuff like that. But you need to move first. Movement
Yeah.
is so important.
Yeah, and you said
So
because you mentioned like having to call some of your clients. I mean, I I had so many failed attempts with working out and classes before it made sense for me. And then I
yeah,
finally got a trainer that was I was supposed to meet him at like 6 in the morning. And I
yeah,
knew if I canceled, that wouldn't be
right.
good. Like,
Exactly. And that's what this new client told me. She's like, I'm not going to cancel on something that I've set this an appointment. You're waiting for me, right?
yeah,
So I'm going to do that, right? I'm going to
yeah,
be there. And that's the other thing. Even I have to do that. People look at me and they're, "Oh, this is easy for you. You're so fit and you love this." Yes, I love it, but I'm not always motivated.
yeah,
I am not always motivated, but I have a partner that motivates me. We motivate each other. I'll be like, "Oh, I don't want to work out." He's like, "Come on, we're going to run." I'm like, "No, just come home. We'll sit on the couch and like let's just watch a movie." No, we're doing it. And vice versa. I do the
yeah,
same thing. And also it's like, so I had this when I was training for triathlon, I had this one guy who he and I both went to we used the same pool to work out in, and swimming was, I did not love the swimming part. I still swim to this day. I was a swimmer when I was younger, but I don't know I mean, like, I'm a good swimmer, but I don't love it for some reason. It's not like my favorite. So I don't get motivated to go do it. But when I was doing triathlon, I had to, right? So Jerry and I would, I'd say, "Hey, Jerry, you going to the pool tonight?" And he would say, "Yeah, okay, I'm going to go at 7." I say, "Okay, I'll meet you there." And it was so funny because we literally would walk in, say hi to each other, jump in opposite lanes. He may even be way down the, lane from me. And we do our workout and leave. We didn't even speak. Like it was like, but it was just the fact that he was going. I knew he was going. I told him I was going, right? And that's what got me to the pool that
Yeah.
evening,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's all you need is, tell somebody that you're going to work out, you
Yeah,
know,
like an accountability partner.
accountability. You need
Yeah.
the accountability. Tell somebody you're going to, ride your Peloton tonight, right? And then it becomes this thing like, oh gosh, I told so and so I was going to ride. And then in the morning, I'm going to see her. She's going to ask me, and I'm going to say, nope, I didn't get on. So, it's like you need that accountability. But I also do adventures, local and destination. So I take people places, and it's so fun because, that is a great way to motivate somebody as well. Like I've had people, so for example, like I do a fitness camp on Maui, and we snorkel, do a night snorkel. We paddleboard. We go on a little jog slash hike, whatever. If you're a runner, you're running it. If you don't run, you're walking it. But in the jungle, I'll take them. Uh, what else? Night, like on a night dive if they're qualified. So it just depends on who's coming, who's in the group, and what we do. But it's just fun. One of the things I always like to have some kind of, you know, activity where you feel a little bit out of your comfort zone. I mean, that's the whole thing with adventure, right? It's something that is unexpected sometimes, and you're motivated by that because it's a little bit of a challenge, a little bit of, you're stepping outside your comfort zone. It might be doing something you always do in a gym, but then you're taking it outside, right, in a different environment. And so that becomes a little bit different, right? Running on a treadmill versus running on a trail, that's way different. So I like to have a little bit of element of surprise. So we did underwater rock hauling. So
Oh gosh.
and this isn't like, you don't have to do all the activities that I've planned, but everybody ends up doing it because they're like, they're there, right? They paid for this. This is so fun, and they find that they like the challenge, or it's always something, some part of what we do that maybe they've never done. And so I remember saying, my husband and I were like, okay, we're going to go do some underwater rock hauling. Anybody wants to come? And I had, this one was, what is that? So I had to explain, yeah, we find these, a heavy rock, and we, it's like 15 feet or 10 feet underwater. And we try to, carry it on the bottom of the ocean as far as we could go. Right. And she was so, like, inquisitive. She's like, oh, I'm going to come out there and watch. She put on her goggles and she's watching, and she's like, but I'm not doing it. I'm like, you don't have to do it. This is what we're doing, right? Come check it out. And I mean, everybody, so she ended up doing it. She's like, can I try? I just want to try it. She's like, I just want to pick up the rock. I'm like, go down there, just pick it up. You don't have to run with it. Just pick it up, right? So it's like baby steps, right? And then she's like, well, I'm going to take some steps. It was just so great. I just get so excited about my little adventures because people come away feeling so inspired and motivated and like, I can do this. And especially women, because we're all, women tend to wait for somebody else, like, I hate to say it, but, the man to take them on some adventure or to do something, outside of their comfort zone or whatever. And what I try to teach women is you can plan these little adventures on on your own. You can navigate there. I mean, it's 2024, right? Technology, you can get anywhere and not get lost.
Yes.
Just plug it into your phone and it will take you, right? So that's always a thing too, is they feel like, oh, how will I get to this location? I actually literally heard a woman say, oh, I can bring my kids here next weekend. We were on um, just a local destination where we hiked and did a mountain bike and a paddle, in a kayak. And I watched her walk through those steps, right? Like give me the location. I put it in my phone. She's like, I can drive us here. I'll bring my kids. This would be so great. So yeah, that's, I just wanted to share that
Yeah. I love
it's
that because
not just about fitness, and
yeah,
working out, but yeah,
you're providing
just
exposure,
yes.
which is important because a lot of those women probably otherwise would have never
No,
tried it.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And now that they've got that comfort, they're like, maybe I'll do this again.
exactly. So it's very exciting. It's very exciting. I love that part of my job.
So when is the next trip, Shawn?
Well, I am actually working on a trip this summer to Yosemite. I have a client who I just trained her to do Kilimanjaro. She just finished her climb. She made it to the summit. Oh my God, I was so excited for her. And this was somebody who, came in maybe 6 months ago, and she was kind of like, I don't know, I need to work out, I need to do this, I need to do that. And then she planned this trip with her sister. And I was like, I've climbed Kili twice. I can train you. Let's go, right? And she was so, focused, and she did such a great job in her training, but she was nervous, she was worried. She was, you know, as anybody would be, right? This is a big adventure, big feat. And she did it. She conquered it. So now she's back and she's like, I need something next. And she wants to climb Half Dome. So I've climbed Half Dome many times. I've also hucked myself off of Half Dome.
Oh gosh. Of course you did, Shawn.
Shh, don't tell anybody. Um, because that's illegal. But I'm planning an adventure there. So, and I've taken people to Yosemite on adventures before. We've done rock climbing, jumped in a waterfall that looked like you might go over the edge, but you know, you
Oof.
won't. But you don't know that until you just take the leap of faith, right? So, all sorts of good stuff. So that's what's next. So I'm working on that trip, but people can check
It's
out stuff on my website.
yes, well, you got to share. How can people
Oh
find
yeah.
out more? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So my website is sport sport adven as an adventure adven. That's my website, and my you can go there. I've got all my things, all the things on there. I also do virtual training, so I train clients online because
Okay.
not everybody lives right here in Mill Valley.
Yeah.
So I offer online training. And what else? I'm on Instagram. I think it's Shawn Brokemond. So just my first name, Shawn, Shawn, last name Brokemond, Brokemond. And then you can always email me at Shawn, Shawn, at sport, sport, adven, adven.com.
Great. Great. And before we leave, because I got to
Yeah.
ask you this. Well, and it's
Yeah.
not a question. I want you to share. You recently did a campaign with AARP.
Oh,
Can
yeah.
you tell? I want you to share that with the listeners.
Oh,
What did
about
you do?
that?
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, so this was so funny. So, I'm trying to get better with social media. Everybody's like, that's the thing, that's the way to get yourself out there and share with people what you do. And so, but people write me on there, and I just, I'm not always checking those messages. And so they were trying, AARP contacted me, and they first tried all my social media channels, and I wasn't responding. And I was just like, and then I saw a message, and I just thought it was, I don't know, I didn't think it was real or something. So finally, like a month goes by, and then they're emailing me. And so I wrote back, and they were like, yeah, we want to, we'd love to interview you as a middle-aged woman, you know, doing adventures and things like that. So I was like, okay. And I still just didn't get it for quite a while, like what all this entailed. And it turned out to be a really big thing. It was really cool. So they had a crew come out for a couple of days, and they followed me around. And I had to choose, some clients that I do it, that I train doing an adventure that's something that maybe they'd never tried before. And so I took the admissions director at the school that I worked at where I left. She is a friend of mine, and she never had gone mountain biking. So I took her mountain biking, and they filmed, that whole thing. And that was great because I really had to pay attention to her instead of like I was like the whole camera thing I don't love at all. And so, but I had to pay attention because she had never, she said I hadn't been on a bike in over 20 years and let alone, on dirt, which is a little bit trickier, but it was so fun. So I did that. And then another woman had gone paddleboarding, but she was a little nervous about standing up. It's a balance thing, right? Another thing, ladies, as you get older, we lose our balance. You have to practice, you have to train that, right? So anyway, so I took her out on the bay where I live, which is really close. And so they filmed us, filmed me working with her and coaching her on, paddling and standing up and, just getting comfortable with that. And then another client was in my gym working out. So we did a short little session. So it was really fun. I felt very honored. And, and then they did a whole interview. So there is a video that shows, everything that we did and talks a little bit about me and, what I'm all about and the kind of, my adventures, things like that. So,
and the video is on your Instagram
yes,
page? Yes.
yes, it is. And it's also on my website. So there's a little about me section, and then there's the videos right there so people can see that. And Crystal, I was blown away. I got like over 850 views. I was like, what? They wrote later and said they were, they asked if they could repost or something like that. So I don't think that ever happened, but they were going to do it again, but they said they'd let me know, and I didn't hear anything. But anyway, it was exciting. It was
it's a very cool video. Like I was
Oh,
really
did you
excited
you watched
for you.
it?
Yeah, I watched it, and
Yeah.
I think I even shared it on my social
Oh,
media. Yeah.
that's so good. See, I'm like so bad at like, I don't have any bells and whistles, on my phone because I'm with people all day long and they would be dinging, and dinging. And so I find that distracting. So everything's turned off. So if I want to,
Yeah.
I have to think like, let me go look at my Instagram or let me look at my Facebook, So I'm really bad at like checking out things when I'm on vacation. That's when I peruse social media and see what
Yeah.
people are up to. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm so glad you watched it.
Yeah, it was so awesome. I was like, "Oh my God, I know her." This is like it was
Yeah.
really, really cool, Shawn. I'm super proud of you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I am so proud of you, Crystal. I just, for all the listeners out there, Crystal and I go way back. I used to actually babysit for Crystal, believe it or not. Or like, not, I mean, you're not, I'm way older than you, but
You're not way older.
well, I was actually shocked when you shared something like, I'm over 50. I'm like, what? Because, I just think of you as this little child, right? And yeah, I guess we are kind of close in age. I'm going to be 56
Yeah.
this year, so I'm getting up
Yeah.
there, but hey, still doing it,
Yeah,
still being
it's never
active.
too late.
Never too late. Never too late. You are not too old, ladies, at any age. You can do whatever you want to do. You have to decide. You have to put your mind to it and then just go get it. But get help, ask your friends, ask somebody, like you need the support.